All right, let's dive into one of the most famous little stories about change ever written. Who Moved My Cheese? It's a super simple parable, but people credit it with saving careers and even marriages. Why? Because it helps people deal with the one thing in life that's always happening: change. So what's this all about? Okay, first things first, let's break down the lingo. In the story, cheese is basically a stand-in for whatever it is you want in life. Could be a good job, a great relationship, money, health, you name it. And the maze? Well, that's just the world you look for it in. Your company, your community, your family. Simple, right?
See, we all have something we call our cheese. It's that thing we chase because we believe it'll make us happy. So the story poses this really powerful central question. What do you do when that thing, the thing you've built your whole life around, just vanishes?
To answer that question, the story gives us these four little characters running around in the maze, and their reactions to a sudden crisis are meant to show us the different ways we all handle change. I'm willing to bet you'll see a little bit of yourself in at least one of them.
So these characters are split into two pairs. First, you've got the mice, Sniff and Scurry. They have simple brains and amazing instincts. They don't analyze things to death, they just act. Then you've got the little people, Hem and Haw. And, well, they're a lot more like us. They have complex brains filled with all sorts of beliefs and emotions, which means they tend to overanalyze and get paralyzed by fear.
Let's start with Sniff. As his name suggests, he's always sniffing the air. He notices the little shifts in his environment, He's the one who senses that change is coming long before it actually happens.
Then you have his buddy Scurry. This guy is all about action. He doesn't wait around or second-guess things. The second things change, boom, he's off and running, already looking for the next opportunity.
Now for the little people. First is Hem. Hem is stuck. He flat out denies the change is happening, he fights against it, and he is just terrified of the unknown. He feels entitled to his cheese, like the world just owes it to him.
And finally, we meet Haw. Haw starts out just as scared and resistant as Hem. But here's the thing about Haw. He's the character who grows. He's the one who eventually learns to adapt once he realizes that staying put is actually way scarier than moving on. So you've got these four characters. They found a great spot in the maze with tons of cheese. Life is good. They're comfortable. Maybe a little too comfortable. And then, one morning, everything changes. The crisis hits.
They show up to their favorite spot, Cheese Station C, where they have this huge, seemingly endless pile of cheese, and it's gone. Like completely empty, vanished. Just like that, their entire routine, their entire world is flipped upside down.
And right here, you see the two totally different ways of dealing with this. The mice, Sniff and Scurry, they're not even surprised. Sniff noticed the supply was getting low, so they just put on their running shoes and immediately take off into the maze to find more cheese. No drama. But Hem and Haw, oh, they are shocked. They feel totally betrayed. They rant, they complain, they blame everyone but themselves. And Hem yells that famous line, "Who moved my cheese?"
So while the mice are already out there exploring, and Hem is just sitting there stuck in denial, Haw starts this really tough but incredible journey. And this is really the heart of the whole story. This is where all the big lessons are. As Haw finally steps back into the maze, he starts writing what he learns on the walls. He's doing it for him, hoping his friend will follow. But he's also doing it for himself. It helps him make sense of it all. And his very first insight is so true, isn't it? The more we care about something, the harder it is to let it go.
So Haw knows they're going to starve if they just stay at the empty station. But Hem absolutely refuses to leave. He's just paralyzed by fear and this sense of entitlement. So Haw faces this huge choice: stay stuck with his friend in a bad situation, or go out into the scary, unknown maze, all by himself.
And this is the question that changes everything for Haw. It's so simple, but so powerful. He asks himself, what would you do if you weren't afraid? Whoa! Just asking that question reframes the whole problem, and it gives him the spark of courage he needs to finally step out into the maze.
Once he's out there, Haw has this big realization. The cheese didn't just vanish overnight, the signs were there all along. It was getting old, the supply was shrinking, but he and him just weren't paying attention. The lesson? You have to monitor your situation. Pay attention to the small changes so the big ones don't catch you by surprise.
And as he keeps moving, something amazing happens. He's still scared, sure, but the fear isn't controlling him anymore. He actually starts to feel free. He feels liberated. He's learning that taking action is the best cure for fear.
Now, this is where Haw gets really smart. He starts using his imagination as a tool. He pictures himself finding new cheese, tasting it, enjoying it. And this isn't just daydreaming. This vivid mental picture actually motivates him. It pulls him forward and makes the scary journey feel not just possible, but exciting.
I mean, this might be the most important lesson in the whole book. Haw realizes that all the time he spent complaining about the old cheese was time he wasn't spending looking for new cheese. Letting go isn't just about accepting a loss, it's the critical first step you have to take to find the next great thing.
So, after this long, tough journey, full of fear and doubt, but also these incredible little epiphanies, Haw's newfound courage finally pays off in a big way.
He stumbles upon what the book calls Cheese Station N, and it's amazing. It's overflowing with all these new, incredible kinds of cheese, way better and more varied than anything he had before. And guess who's already there, munching away? Yep, Sniff and Scurry. They acted fast, and they got the reward first.
So, what's the big summary? What can we all learn from Haw's journey? Well, he basically wrote it all down for us. All those lessons he learned, he put them right on the wall of Cheese Station N, like a roadmap for anyone else dealing with change. Let's just quickly run through this handwriting on the wall. First, just accept it. Change happens. It's a fact of life, so you've got to anticipate change. Always be looking ahead. Then, monitor change. That's the smell the cheese often part. When it hits, adapt to change quickly. Don't be a ham. You have to be willing to change yourself. And finally, and this is a big one, learn to enjoy change. See it as an adventure.
And that's really what the story leaves us with. It's this one last powerful question. Because the cheese in our lives, our jobs, our health, our relationships, it's always going to move. That's a guarantee. The only thing we actually have control over is how we respond. So the question is, are you going to be a him, stuck and afraid? Or are you going to be a sniff, a scurry, or a haw, ready to move with it and maybe find something even better?